Dear students, welcome back to Aurelia Vlogs. Today we are completing our module 5. We can go to the contents. Concept of ecosystem, structure and function of ecosystem, producers, consumers and decomposers, energy flow in ecosystem, ecological succession, food chains, food webs, ecological pyramids, forest ecosystem in detail. So first of all, we can go to ecosystems concept. First of all, you have to know what is ecology. I have taught you in part 1 what is ecology. Still, I have to explain once again. Let me tell. It's a study of relationships between various organisms and their environment. It includes consideration of plants, animals and human population in terms of the rate of population growth, food habits and ultimate death. Once in a surrounding, if the living beings or whatever they are surviving, if anything hampers to the environment, that will be a serious problem. So the study of ecology and ecosystem is very important in environment protection. Ecosystem. Ecosystem is the smallest unit of biosphere that has all the characteristics to sustain life. Since biosphere is very large and complex, for better understanding, we are dividing into small units called ecosystems. I have already taught you what is biosphere and all in the part 1 and all. Now we can study concept of ecosystem. Earth is a giant ecosystem where the biotic components, that is the living things, and the abiotic components, non-living things, are constantly acting and reacting upon each other, bringing structural and functional changes in it. This large ecosystem is very difficult to handle, so we are dividing it into smaller units called ecosystem for the convenience of our study. A biotic community cannot live in isolation. It lives and grows in an environment which supplies and fulfills its material and energy requirement and provides other living condition. Biotic community cannot live alone. It has to get something from the abiotic environment. So the biotic community and its physical or non-living environment in which the matter cycles and the energy flows is called ecosystem. That is just a concept of ecosystem. Just you have to know what is an ecosystem. No need to study in detail and all the reason what is the terms meaning in depth. So I wanted to you all to know. That's why I just gave you an introduction about ecosystems concept. Now we can study the types of ecosystem. There are two types. One is natural ecosystem, which is called biomes, and artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem includes terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. Natural ecosystem operates by themselves under natural conditions without the interference of man. Man-made ecosystem or artificial ecosystem are maintained by man artificially. Here, the natural balance is disturbed regularly by addition of energy and plant manipulation by man. For example, a pond made for wastewater management, that is an artificial ecosystem made by man. Now we can study the structure and function of ecosystem. Every ecosystem has two major components which are called abiotic and biotic. Abiotic is the non-living content which includes physical or climatic factors such as water, soil, nutrients, light, wind, humidity, temperature, etc. Biotic are the living components. The structure of an ecosystem means the composition of biological community, including the species, the population, the biomass, life history, and distribution in space, and so on. Function of ecosystem means the rate of biological energy flow, the rate of nutrient cycles in it, biological regulations, including the regulation of environment by the organism and vice versa. So this is the function of of an ecosystem, where there is a rate of biological energy flow, that is from the producers to consumers to the decomposers, and I will teach you in the detail in the next chapter, that is types of living organisms. We have to study three types of living organisms. They are producers, consumers and decomposers. What are the producers? They are the green plants which are called autotrophs, which can synthesize their own food using water, carbon dioxide and light, that is sunlight, and they do the process photosynthesis, and they are the suppliers of energy in an ecosystem. Consumers are the heterotrophic organisms which cannot synthesize their own food. So they depend upon other organisms for food. Next, decomposers. Decomposers are small microscopic organisms just like fungi and bacteria, which live on dead or decaying organic matter. They are also called saprophytes or saprotrophs. So they help to keep the environment clean and mineral recycling. They decompose the organic or the biodegradable waste into simpler form, thereby giving vital nutrients back to the soil. So we can study the energy flow in an ecosystem. That is a very important matter. You have to study in this ecosystem chapter. The flow of energy that occurs in a food chain is called energy flow. Heat energy from sun is transferred by air, water current or by convection through soil and sediments, which thereby provides warmness to the living beings. So that is the energy flow in ecosystem. Actually, energy flow occurs, I will tell you in detail in food chain. Just we can go to the ecological succession. Ecological succession is a process by which natural communities replace or succeed one over another time. For example, if an old farm is abandoned for many years, or even if we leave our home which has a lot of land, gradually after 20 or 25 years when it comes, it will be a forest. And in this case, an old farm, when it is abandoned for many years, it becomes a meadow, then few bushes grow and eventually trees will be filled up, producing a forest. So here forest is the climax community. So it's a ecological succession. You have to understand in detail. It's a process by which natural communities replace or succeed one over another over time. An old farm, when it is abandoned for many years, if we have a farm in a village, and if we go after 20 or 25 years, and we can see that that old farm will become a forest. First of all, there will be a meadow, then few bushes will grow and entire trees will be filled up. Now, there are different types of ecological succession. One is primary succession, that is, it begins when no planet life is present on the landscape. Primary succession is beginning when there is no plant life present on the landscape, such as after a lava flow or a glacial retreat. After the lava flow, what happens? The whole place is devastated. So over centuries, soil forms and deepens, and then successive communities of plants grow. During primary succession, organisms must start from the scratch. First, lichens. They might attach themselves to the rocks. And then a few small plants able to live without much soil may appear. Gradually, the climax community, the trees, will be formed. So did you understand? Start from the scratch. The lichens which attach themselves to the rocks, and then a few small plants will be able to live without much soil. Then they will decompose and they will cause plants, and then the plants will grow to trees, and the climax community, the forest, will occur. Next is secondary succession. Secondary succession happens when a climax community is impacted by a disturbance. This retains the cycle of succession. That's what we told in the previous example, that when there is a forest fire, the whole forest is burnt, and then slightly, little by little, grasses will grow, and these grasses will become later bushes and then plants, and then comes the trees. I think you understood, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment box. Next, we can study food chain. Food chain is the sequence of transfer of matter and energy in the form of food from organism to organism. There are different chains. It can be a predatory chain, it can be a parasite chain, it can be a saprophytic chain. An example, I will say a food chain. An example, grass. Grass is the primary producer, that is the producer, that is the one as a living organism present ultimately in the earth, grass, which is ate by grasshopper. And this grasshopper is ate by rat. The rat is ate by a snake. And the snake will be ate by a hawk. The hawk will be after lot of years and all, this hawk will die and it will be decayed, and decomposition is done by the fungi. Again, this fungi will give nutrients to the soil by the decomposition, and this nutrition is absorbed by the grass, and again the cycle happens like this. So the energy is flowing like this. That's what I told. I will tell you energy flow in detail in the food chain. You got it? Grass will eat grasshopper. Grass is ate by the grasshopper, and the grasshopper is ate by the rat, and the rat is ate by the snake. Snake is ate by a hawk, and the hawk, when it dies, it decomposes. It is decomposed by fungi. When it is decayed matter, the fungi will decompose it, and the nutrients are supplied to the soil, which is absorbed by the plant. Did you get it? I will tell you a simple food chain. Grass is ate by grasshopper. Grasshopper is swallowed by a frog, and the frog is swallowed by a snake. And again, the snake is ate by a vulture, and again the same case. Did you understand? Okay, so this is how energy flows in the food chain. Okay. Now, what is a food web? Food web consists of all the food chains in a single ecosystem. All of the interconnected and overlapping food chains in an ecosystem make up a complex food web. Organisms in food webs are grouped into trophic levels. One is autotrophs, which is the first trophic level. They are the producers. The second trophic level are the consumers, which are heterotrophs. Actually, they might be herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. You know what are herbivorous? They are the plant-eating animals. Carnivorous are the flesh-eating animals, and omnivorous eat both herbs and animals. So, herbivores are the primary consumers, carnivores are the secondary consumers, and omnivores are the tertiary consumers. Herbivores eat plants. When carnivores eat the herbivores, what will happen? Plant is consumed by the tiger. For example, tiger is a carnivore. Okay, tiger will eat a deer. The deer has ate grass. So, carnivore gets both the herb and the flesh. And omnivores, they are eating both plants and animals. So, we are eating both plant and animals. We are omnivores. Next, the last trophic level, which is the decomposers or detrivores. Detrivores are organisms that eat non-living plant and animal remains. For example, vultures eat dead animals. Decomposers like fungi and bacteria complete the food chain. They turn the organic waste into nutrients, which are used by the autotrophs, that is the plants. This starts again a whole series of food chain. And that is what happening in a food web, a complex process of food chains. Okay. Now we can study ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramid is a graphical representation showing the relationship between different organisms in an ecosystem. Three types of ecological pyramids are there. One is pyramid of numbers, second one pyramid of biomass, third one pyramid of energy. Pyramid of numbers, here the number of organisms in each trophic level is considered as a level in the pyramid. It is an upright pyramid in light of the fact that producers are more in number than other trophic levels. Only then it will be upright, otherwise it will be inverted if the producers are very low. Next, pyramid of biomass. Here, each level takes into account the amount of biomass produced by each trophic level. The pyramid of biomass is upright except for that observed in oceans where large number of zooplanktons depends on a relatively small number of phytoplanktons. We can study what is a plankton. Plankton, they are all plant or animal components found in the oceans. So, zooplanktons are the animal components which eat the phytoplanktons and then become food for the fish. Phytoplanktons are microscopic marine algae which are the producers. So that's the reason in this oceans and all it will be inverted. Next we can study pyramid of energy. It is the only type of ecological pyramid which is always upright, as the energy flow in a food chain here is unidirectional. Also, with every increasing trophic level, some energy is lost into the environment. Once the producers are ate by the primary consumers will eat the secondary consumers, and then the secondary consumers are swollen by the, ate by the tertiary consumers, and as in this flow there will be a loss of energy in every level. Now we can study the major ecosystems. First one is aquatic ecosystem, second one grassland ecosystem, third one desert ecosystem, and the fourth one forest ecosystem, which you have to study in detail. So let me elaborate what is aquatic ecosystem. A grassland, desert ecosystem and forest ecosystem are the terrestrial ecosystem. You have to remember that, and for your convenience I have elaborated each and every one. Now let me say aquatic ecosystem. It's an ecosystem formed by surrounding body of water. It includes freshwater habitats like lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, wetlands, swamp, etc. and the marine habitats like oceans, intertidal zone, reefs, seabed, and so on. It is the habitat for water-dependent living species, including animals, plants, and microbes. Second, we can study in detail what is a grassland ecosystem. It's a terrestrial ecosystem, as I said. Grasslands are the areas dominated by grasses. They occupy about 20% of the land on Earth's surface. Grasslands occur in both tropical and temperate regions where the rainfall is not enough to support the growth of trees. Next is desert ecosystem. It is the study of interactions between both biotic and abiotic components of the desert. Desert is one of the most driest land area on the earth that receives very little rainfall throughout the year, even less than 50 centimeter in a year. Now we can study in detail what is a forest ecosystem. It is a terrestrial unit of living organisms which include plants, animals and microorganisms, all interacting among themselves and with the environment, which is soil, climate, water and light. Okay, so we can study the characteristics of forest ecosystem. In every forest, there is a warm temperature and sufficient rainfall is there, which results in lakes, ponds, etc. Forest ecosystem supports the wildlife and protects biodiversity. Soil is rich in organic matter, which supports the growth of trees. It maintains climate and rainfall. So, forest ecosystem is very important. functions of forest ecosystem. We get lot of goods from forests. Ecological functions are there. Culture and social benefits are also there, and we can study that in detail now. First one is goods obtained from the forest. What are the goods we are obtaining from forest? We are obtaining lot of vegetable fruits and all. No, we have obtaining fresh fruits. We are getting honey. We are getting lot of medicinal plants. All these are from forest ecosystem. Now, palm oil, medicinal plants, timber, cork. These are all obtained from forests. Second one is ecological functions. Forests play an important role in maintaining ecological factors such as climate, storage, nutrient cycling, and rainfall. Then culture and social benefits. That means the tribal people who have a lot of beliefs, they believe that forest is a goddess, nature goddess. So these traditional beliefs save wild animals from hunters and cutting down of trees by the urban people, because the tribal people feel like this and they will not allow the people to cut down the trees, and they will save the wild animals also, because they believe that forest is mother goddess. Okay. Now, but nowadays modern people are visiting forests for recreation, as it is the beauty of forest which attracts people there, the aesthetic feelings we are getting when we visit a forest. Now we can study the different types of forest system. One is tropical forest ecosystem, that includes that is also known as tropical rainforest, which receives around 100 inches of rain every year, and these forests are found in the latitude between 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degrees south. This temperature recorded here is in between 68 degrees and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. It has a wide variety of species. Because of the heavy rainfall here, leaching of soil nutrients is a problem. Then, due to dense canopy, the sun cannot reach the forest floor. It is a home for millions of animals that include a massive variety of mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, etc. The tropical forest system is divided into evergreen forests, seasonal forests, subtropical forests, montane forest, and also tropical and subtropical coniferous forest. Next type is temperate forest ecosystem. They are usually found in North America, Eurasia, Japan, etc., which receives rainfall less than compared to the tropical forest, approximately 30 to 60 inches every year. Unlike tropical forests, these temperate forests can experience all the 4 seasons. The winter is very severe there, even the temperature comes below the freezing point, and in summer the temperature is very high, and as a result high level of humidity also is there. The temperate forest system is further divided into two: temperate deciduous forest and temperate coniferous forest. Next is the taiga, which is also known as boreal forest ecosystem. It is found in Siberia, Northern Asia, Canada, and Scandinavia. It experiences short summers and very long winter seasons. Trees are found here are pine, fir, spruce, etc. It has a dense canopy, so the sunlight doesn't reach the forest floor and the vegetation is quite less. Next type is savanna forest system. These forests are found in South America, Australia, and Africa. They are very vulnerable to forest fires, but most advantageous factor is that they regrow much faster. Then landscapes are covered with large areas of greenlands, bushes, and clusters of feeble trees. Feeble means very slender trees. So this is our end of module 1, which we have completed in 5 parts. And if you have any doubts, you can comment in the comment box. So we can see you in the next module. Thank you.